6, a decades-old debate over the right to have an abortion continues into the new year. And one day after the U.S. surpasses 20 million coronavirus cases, the nation's leading infectious disease expert shares a grim warning for the rest of the winter. Plus, just days before Joe Biden will be certified the winner of the presidential election, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson says he will object.
This is News 3 Now at 6.
Thanks for joining News 3 Now at 6. I'm Amanda Quintana. Let's take a live look outside. It's a lot more calm outside today. This is a look at the Capitol from our Edgewater Skycam. Fog and some freezing fog may impact some travel tonight and tomorrow morning. Let's get a look at your first warned weather with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti.
Well, Amanda, it is pretty quiet out here. The fog really hasn't started up much in the Madison area, but let's start out by taking a look at visibilities. Madison reporting a 5-mile visibility with some light fog, but Janesville's visibility is already down to a mile. In Viroqua, they're down to a 1/4 mile visibility, and there will be areas of dense fog with visibilities less than a 1/4 mile over much of southern Wisconsin later on tonight into tomorrow morning. And with temperatures below freezing, that could also lead to some patchy freezing fog, especially on road surfaces that haven't been treated with salt. Secondary road side streets most vulnerable for that. But the dense fog advisory in effect pretty much for all areas away from Lake Michigan. That runs until noon tomorrow. Temperatures right now upper teens to the lower 20s. These temperatures won't move very much tonight, but with the clouds and the fog, not much in the way of precipitation. There could be a couple of flurries south and east of Madison overnight, but that's pretty much about it. Otherwise, look for locally dense fog overnight into tomorrow morning along with some freezing fog. Low temperature will drop into the upper teens, but our high tomorrow should hit 29 as the fog lifts and we get some sunshine in the afternoon. Later on, I'll take a look at a forecast that includes relatively quiet weather for much of the rest of the week.
All right, thank you, Gary. Just in tonight, Wisconsin will not play Penn State tomorrow as scheduled. The basketball game between the Badgers and the Nittany Lions is the first Big Ten Conference game to be postponed this season. Wisconsin announced the decision on Twitter, saying the postponement was mutually agreed upon by both teams. The tweet did not say whether players or staff members on either team tested positive, but did say they will try to reschedule the game later this season. A debate that's gone on for nearly 5 decades is continuing into 2021. A group of pro-life supporters marched around the state capitol this morning as part of the 2021 March for Life. Gabriella Becerra shares what supporters want people to know.
Pandemic or no pandemic, we are pro-life.
In the new year, pro-life Wisconsin State Director Dan Miller says he hopes bills in his favor might make it through the legislature.
We would love to see legislation passed that ends abortion legally and also in the hearts and minds of moms and dads who are considering abortion.
While marching around the state capitol building this morning, Miller says he's not so confident the Supreme Court will overturn Roe v. Wade, even with the addition of Justice Amy Coney Barrett.
I would rather see our president pass an executive order like Lincoln did to free the slaves, the Emancipation Proclamation, and to free the preborn babies.
The group was challenged, not by any pro-choice supporters, but rather by people who share the same message.
No more birth control, no more take action. For life begins at conception, and that's when you wouldn't be able to murder a baby.
But Alex Worth explains how his organization, Missionaries to the Preborn, have a different approach.
Like what my sign says, we want to completely abolish abortion and not just regulate it, and that's kind of what the pro-life movement has been doing for the past 48 years.
Like Miller, Worth isn't holding his breath for a Supreme Court ruling, but would rather see the state's lawmakers get the ball rolling.
The legislator takes back the power to make laws and doesn't listen to the courts when it comes to lawmaking abilities.
Gabriella Becerra, News 3 Now.
Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin was in federal court last month attempting to improve access to abortions. They're targeting 3 specific restrictions. Only doctors can perform the procedure, patients are required to see the same doctor on 2 separate visits, and a ban on telemedicine in abortion care. Wisconsin is reporting another big drop in new coronavirus cases. DHS and county dashboards show just more than 1,000 new cases over the past day. That's more than 700 fewer than yesterday. No new deaths are being reported, while 26,000 of the state's 484,000 all-time cases remain active. As happy as many of us were to say goodbye to 2020, the harsh reality is we're nowhere near saying goodbye to COVID-19 just yet. And as Britt Conway reports, doctors expect things to get much worse before they get better.
We may have turned the page on a new year, but we're far from turning the page on COVID-19. The U.S. topped 20 million total confirmed infections on the first day of 2021. More than 10,000 people died here in the last 3 days of 2020. And Dr. Anthony Fauci says we just have to assume that it's going to get worse. Dr. Nicholas Christakis with Yale University and Dr. Megan Ranney with Brown University agree.
We are by no means out of the woods of this pandemic. We're not even at the beginning of the end, I would say.
We have more cases, we have more hospitalizations, we have travel that's going to lead to further surges in January. Now we have this new version of the virus that's going to spread more easily and make our hospitals still more full.
Yes, we have vaccines, but the rollout isn't going as many experts had hoped.
That is a logistics failure.
Looking ahead, Dr. Christakis doesn't think we'll reach herd immunity until 2022.
Meanwhile, the germ is spreading.
Which is why he puts economic recovery even farther down the line.
It's still going to take some time to recover from the social and psychological and economic shock.
After that, he predicts a sort of free-for-all, reminiscent of the Roaring '20s. But until then,
we're going to have to continue to wear masks and have intermittent school closures and business closures and gathering bans and so on.
A new year, but not a new reality. Not yet. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
New data from the CDC says only 4.2 million vaccine doses have been administered so far. The Trump administration had hoped to have 20 million Americans receive a vaccine by the start of 2021. President-elect Joe Biden's win is expected to be certified during a joint session of Congress next week, but a group of Republican senators, including Wisconsin's Ron Johnson, says that they will vote against counting electoral votes. The lawmakers, led by Texas Senator Ted Cruz, say they will reject the Electoral College votes from multiple states until an emergency 10-day audit of the election in, quote, disputed states is completed. The group of 12 senators also includes Oklahoma's James Lankford, Indiana's Mike Braun, and John Kennedy of Louisiana. President Trump has said his defeat is because of widespread voter fraud, but the president and his allies have lost nearly 50 lawsuits since the end of the election trying to prove that. That includes 2 losses in the U.S. Supreme Court and several at the state level right here in Wisconsin. The president's former head of the government's cybersecurity agency said in mid-November that the 2020 election was the most secure in U.S. history. Control over the U.S. Senate is at stake in 3 days in Georgia. The 2 runoff elections in the state will determine the Senate's balance of power. 2 of the candidates, Democrat Jon Ossoff and Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler, spoke at rallies this morning.
The whole country is watching us. The whole country is watching you. Georgia has so much power right now. Georgia voters have so much power right now. And after 4 years of hatred and racism and division and bigotry, Georgia is going to make a statement about love and decency and compassion and unity, because that's what Georgia stands for.
Are you ready to show America that Georgia's a red state? Yes! We're going to get it done. We have a lot of work to do. It's going to be a busy weekend for y'all. You know why? Because we're going to do exactly what Ted said. We're going to call everyone we know, and make sure that they get out and vote for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. That's why
President Trump and President-elect Biden are both expected to rally more supporters in the state on Monday, 1 day before Tuesday's elections. More than 3 million Georgians voted ahead of the elections. The Georgia Secretary of State's office says that number includes mail-in and in-person voting. As of yesterday, more than 400,000 requested absentee ballots are still outstanding. Total turnout in the 2020 presidential election in Georgia topped 5 million. Fresh off Wednesday's win in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the Badgers received good news this morning with a trio of stars opting to return for another season in Madison. The three players include linebacker Jack Sanborn. The Illinois native led the team in tackling the past 2 seasons. Tight end Jake Ferguson will also be back next season. He led the team in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns this season. Cornerback Fan Hicks also says he will return. Hicks is expected to play a big role in the Badgers' secondary again next year. Coming up on News 3 Now at 6, why Consumer Reports says now is the best time to sell your old car. And tonight on News 3 Now at 10, as the U.S. struggles to get millions of Americans vaccinated, why the British government says it's optimistic when it comes to its vaccine rollout. That's tonight at 10.
It's the Ayers Furniture New Year's sale with huge savings on quality name brands, including Lazy Boy, with recliners starting at $3.99, and Smith Brothers Amish handcrafted sofas at special New Year's sale prices. Ayers Furniture with free delivery. The New Year's sale. Don't miss it.
Is your credit score getting in the way of things you want to do? Personal loans through NetCredit help you borrow up to $10,000. So check your eligibility on netcredit.com today without affecting your credit score. You may even be able to build your credit history as you repay. NetCredit, a more personal loan.
We are the Thrivers, women with metastatic breast cancer. Our time for more time has come. Living longer is possible and proven in postmenopausal women taking Kisqali plus fulvestrant. In a clinical trial, Kisqali plus fulvestrant helped women live longer with HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer, and it significantly delayed disease progression. Kisqali can cause lung problems or an abnormal heartbeat, which can lead to death. It can cause serious skin reactions, liver problems, and low white blood cell counts that may result in severe infections. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including breathing problems, cough, chest pain, a change in your heartbeat, dizziness, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, tiredness, loss of appetite, abdomen pain, bleeding, bruising, fever, chills, or other symptoms of an infection, a severe or worsening rash, are or plan to become pregnant or breastfeeding. Avoid grapefruit during treatment. Ask your doctor about living longer with Kisqali.
News 3 Now this morning brought together chefs and owners from struggling local restaurants.
Without assistance, a lot of us aren't going to exist in 2021.
Your holiday helpings are already making a difference, and continued support can help keep these vital community businesses alive. Learn more at channel3000.com.
It's the Ayers Furniture New Year's sale with huge savings on quality name brands, including Sealy, with queen-size sets starting at $3.99 and Flex Steel sofas starting at $9.99. Ayers Furniture with free delivery. The New Year's sale ends Sunday at 4.
You are watching News 3 Now at 6.
For the first time ever, the USDA has included babies and toddlers in its dietary guidelines. The guidelines provide a foundation for federal nutrition programs for the next 5 years. The department decided not to cut sugar and alcohol intake recommendations. However, the agency now recommends children under 2 should avoid all added sugar. And that can seem like a difficult task for many families. The best advice nutritionists are giving: make sure your kids eat the rainbow. And no, that does not mean Skittles. It means nutrient-rich foods of all different colors. Each color has its own health benefits. For example, red foods help reduce risk for diabetes, certain types of cancer, and heart disease, while orange and yellow foods promote eye and joint health. Experts also say parents should get kids involved in this process, maybe letting them choose a new fruit or vegetable every week. As the pandemic continues sweeping the nation, demand for used cars is skyrocketing. Experts say it's because people are avoiding mass transit and car sharing apps. That means right now might be the best time to sell your current car. Consumer Reports reveals the tricks of the trade to help you get the most bang for your buck.
Since the pandemic, you may be finding your car sitting around collecting dust. So is now a good time to make money selling your car? Consumer Reports says your timing actually couldn't be better, as the used car market has become red hot.
With the pandemic, dealers are having trouble getting enough used cars in to sell. And even the least desirable used cars are now selling quickly and for prices higher than they would have 7 or 8 months ago.
For the quickest and easiest sale, your best bet is to sell your car to a dealership or large dealer chain like CarMax. You'll need to do some homework before you shop it around. First step, find out your car's value.
I would look at some services like TrueCar, Kelley Blue Book, and see how much cars like mine are selling for it, and that gives you at least a starting point.
Next, take your car around to 2 or 3 different places that purchase used cars and get a written offer. Having that written offer on hand will help you in negotiations with other potential buyers. You can also sell a car privately by listing it on a site like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. And while you might get a better deal, during a pandemic, this comes with extra challenges.
That is a little tricky during a pandemic because you're not going to get more than 6 feet away from someone on a test drive in a car.
And finally, giving your car a thorough cleaning before showing it to a potential buyer can translate into a quicker sale and possibly more dollars in your pocket. This is Jeff Cullen.
Consumer Reports also says to consider online services like Carvana. They can offer to pick up your car and pay you on the spot right from your home. Perfect for selling a car while social distancing. There's more to come on News 3 Now at 6. Ice fishers are hitting the lakes around Madison, while bait shops say this year has been busier than ever. Plus, Gary tells us fog and freezing fog is likely tonight. He has more in your First Warn forecast next.
The 72-hour New Year's weekend sale is Saturday through Monday with a special one-day preview sale Friday at Ashley Home Store. Save up to 65% off doorbuster mattresses like these. Plus, get your choice of free Apple gifts with purchase of select mattresses and free quick ship delivery. Ashley Home Store.
Do you take daily prescription pain medications, but they don't help enough? Do you want more options to better manage chronic pain? University of Wisconsin-Madison STAMP Study offers free, safe, therapeutic programs to address chronic pain. The programs occur once a week for 8 weeks and pays up to $340. Call 608-212-6902 today. Again, that's 608-212-6902.
The holidays are a time for giving.
To your friends, your family,
to your teacher.
In that spirit of giving,
Chevy's proud to give our employee discount to everyone.
The Chevy price you pay
Is what we pay. Not a cent more.
because giving and giving back is what the holidays are all about.
Now through January 4th, use the Chevy employee discount for everyone to get a total value of over $8,400 on this Silverado. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
A surprise party, a wedding proposal, an unexpected bonus at work. Some surprises are awesome, but this, weather like this should never be a surprise. Not when you watch News 3 Now, where you get an accurate, reliable forecast, so you're never caught off guard by the weather. Need to get up early to shovel, add time to your commute, wear boots, rebook a flight? Let News 3 Now First Warn Weather give you everything you need to know so you can plan your life.
Ashley Home Store's 72-hour New Year's weekend sale starts now. Save big on our latest styles store-wide, including holiday doorbusters like these, plus interest-free financing for 5 years and a bonus 5% discount off our sale prices. Only at Ashley Home Store.
You are watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. Nearly 50 fishermen took to the ice of Monona Bay today as the ice fishing season begins throughout the state. Local bait shops say they've seen an increase in interest for fishing of all types this year. That's because it provides for a safe but fun outdoor activity during the pandemic.
Over the summer, there was probably quite an influx of maybe new participants. Just a desire to try something different. They got maybe a little more time on their hands. They maybe want to do something in the outdoors.
Coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 10, Adam Duxter takes you to the shores of Monona Bay to show what the catch looks like this year. Let's get a look at your First Warn weather with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canulty. You have to be careful out on that ice. It makes me nervous watching them out there.
Well, now the temperatures are getting below freezing and staying below freezing all day, so that ice is gradually thickening up. Although areas that have a covering of snow on it, that snow kind of insulates them. It insulates the ice a little bit and makes it slower for that ice to thicken up to the point to where it's safe. So always be, even in the middle of winter, you need to check the ice depth before you go out there too much. Now, the live view from the WISC Sky Camp starting to show some light fog over the west side of Madison. Visibility right now 5 miles to the Dane County Regional Airport, but you can see some locations are less than that. Down to a mile in Janesville, a mile and 3/4 in Monroe, only a 1/4 mile visibility in Viroqua, as well as Decorah, Iowa. And that fog is going to continue to spread in from the west and thicken up overnight. Dense fog advisories in effect till noon tomorrow, pretty much for all of southern Wisconsin. Away from Lake Michigan, their temperatures might be a little bit warmer to break up the fog a bit, but areas of fog and freezing fog are possible overnight, especially in areas where there are untreated roads like secondary roads and side streets. Those can become a little slick with the fog condensing moisture on the road. But the dense fog advisory covers pretty much most of southern and central Wisconsin, back through all of Iowa, northern Illinois, and southeastern Minnesota. So we're not alone with the dense fog. The thickest fog right now over northeastern Iowa and north central Wisconsin. Marshfield right now, 1/4 mile visibility, and this area of fog will continue to expand to the south and east through the overnight hours. Snow depth right now, thickest across northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, and southern Wisconsin. Another area of thicker snow farther to the north and west, but we have widespread snow cover. And while temperatures are below freezing here, notice to the south and east, temperatures are right around freezing. They were in the mid-30s today. So with a little bit of a southeasterly wind, as that warmer air rides over the snow, it melts it, adds a little more moisture to the air, and that's why we're seeing fog for tonight. But on Doppler track, very little in the way of precipitation. There's a weather system to our south with a few snow flurries over southeastern Iowa. It's possible as the system kind of slides to the northeast, it could clip southeastern Wisconsin with a few flurries. Otherwise, 3 things you need to know in the forecast. Again, that fog and freezing fog possibility through tomorrow morning, but look for generally dry weather with little precipitation expected pretty much through Wednesday morning, and even then we'll have some snow chances from Wednesday afternoon through Thursday, but that should for the most part be to our south and west, and temperatures will be near or above normal through the early part of the following week. So again, dense fog advisory until noon tomorrow for all of southern Wisconsin. Look for some locally dense fog overnight, some freezing fog. Temperatures nearly steady in the upper teens. Tomorrow, the dense fog and freezing fog in the morning, then partly sunny in the afternoon with a high of 29, and the 7 to 10 day forecast calls for quiet weather for Monday and Tuesday, maybe a flurry Monday night. A chance for snow Wednesday afternoon into Thursday, but notice those temperatures a little colder toward the end of next week, but that's about average for this time of year.
All right, thanks so much, Gary. Still ahead on News 3 now at 6, why a northern Wisconsin zoo is asking you to not just throw away your Christmas tree. That story after the break.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
People were afraid I was contagious. I felt gross.
It was kind of a shock after I started Cosentyx. 4 years clear.
Real people with psoriasis look and feel better with Cosentyx. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor about an infection or symptoms. If your inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen, or if you've had a vaccine or plan to, serious allergic reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com.
It's Steinhaffel's 3-day New Year's sale. Save 35% off store-wide and pay no interest until 2026 with our 5-year special financing. Or take advantage of these great deals like any size Sealy, just $99. Or this Chase sofa, just $6.99. A queen bed, now $8.99. A family-size dining set, only $8.99. Start the new year off and save big during Steinhaffel's 3-day New Year's sale. Only at Steinhaffel's and Steinhaffels.com.
Finally home. Okay, let's go.
Come on. Yeah. Welcome to the final days of Toyotathon. Here for a great deal.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the wait is over.
Oh, Camry. Yes.
Right now, during Toyotathon, you can get 0.9% APR financing for 60 months on a new 2021 Camry or 2021 RAV4.
You can get a great deal, too, at Toyotathon, but it all ends January 4th.
Toyota, let's go places.
Accurate news as it happens.
We want to make sure our vaccination sites are ready.
Right here, where you live.
Nearly half of Dane County's total COVID deaths have come in the last month.
Information that you can use.
These case counts are still testing our public health system and straining our hospital system.
From the team you can trust.
So many generous people are willing to help us.
For more local stories that impact your life, News 3 Now. Waking up to stuff like this should never be a surprise. Watch News 3 Now First Warn Weather so you always know what's headed our way.
Ice fishing is in high demand, and officials explain how to safely enjoy the sport this season. And we are tracking winter weather conditions. Join us Sunday morning at 6:30.
Watching News 3 Now at 6.
Christmas time may be over, but how about giving a green gift to a new zoo in Suamico? As Chris Schuler found out, the Brown County Zoo would love to make use of your discarded Christmas tree.
At the new zoo in Suamico, people stroll the grounds looking at the animals. But some visitors are just a bit surprised that in many exhibits they also see a Christmas tree or two.
My daughter picked him up right away. She's like, oh, there's Christmas trees. And she goes, I wonder what they do with them.
Assistant zookeeper Brent Kerner says for the past few years, the zoo has put out the call for old Christmas trees to share with their over 200 animals.
We can use them for enrichment for our animals. It's a sensory for them. It's like a tactile. They get to move it around. They get to interact with it.
And this zookeeper says the animals really love these trees. In fact, they have to replenish them on a daily basis. Each of these animals interacts differently with these trees that provide them with hours of fun.
Sometimes they play with them, and it's just something new for them.
Goats, alpacas, they will strip all the needles off the branches. The elk and the bison, they'll throw them around.
And all that hard play means the zoo can always use more Christmas trees if they're clean, free of tinsel and other decorations, and dropped off at the zoo.
Yes, yeah, we'll take more trees. Last year we kept using trees well into spring.
To give the trees a second life and actually be able to help the animals is kind of cool.
We're happy that we can provide that service, and the people also enjoy that they're helping our animals out.
I think it's pretty awesome.
If you'd like to donate your old Christmas tree to the new zoo, you can visit the new zoo's Facebook page. All right, Gary, it seems like those animals were pretty happy to have some snow as well.
Yeah, well, they got it last night. They're not going to get much tonight. A little weather system down to the south could bring a couple of flurries to southeastern Wisconsin later on tonight, but for the most part, it's the fog and the freezing fog that we have to watch out for. Dense fog advisory in effect until noon tomorrow for all of southern Wisconsin, Iowa, southeastern Minnesota, northern Illinois. The only areas out of the fog advisory are right along the immediate lakeshore of Lake Michigan. So downtown Chicago, Milwaukee right now out of the dense fog advisory. But right now the fog is starting to thicken up, especially to our south, to our north, and to our west. So Madison, still a 5-mile visibility right now, but notice a mile visibility in Janesville. Down to the south, we're seeing several places with visibilities less than a mile across northern Illinois. Decorah, Iowa, Viroqua, down to a 1/4-mile visibility, as well as up to the north in Marshfield. So eventually that fog will thicken and spread out over most of southern Wisconsin. And with temperatures in the upper teens and lower to middle 20s, that means untreated roads could get a little layer of moisture from the fog that could cause some freezing fog and some slick road surfaces. So keep that in mind. The main highways I don't think will be much of a problem. Otherwise, the fog will continue into at least mid-morning tomorrow. By lunchtime, we'll start to see some breaks in the clouds. Partly sunny skies tomorrow with a high temperature of 29 degrees. And the 7 to 10-day forecast calls for relatively quiet weather. Be a chance of snow from Wednesday afternoon into Thursday. Otherwise, the end of the week will be just a little colder.
All right, thanks so much, Gary, and thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.